Alright, so today I wanted to show you guys how to install a set of bushings and end links onto a stock sway bar. The procedure can be a little bit difficult for people that have never done it before, and I just wanted to show how I do it. It seems to work really well. Today we're using one of our heavy-duty end links, but the procedure would be the same for a factory end link. And we're using our new line of white line urethane bushings. You can go to t3technique.com to see the complete white line bushing line. The reason I chose this one is because it is the stiffest of the bushings that I've ever installed, which makes it the most difficult. It also, the bushing being stiff is great for performance, but it makes the installation a bit challenging if you've never done it before. So I'm going to show you how. Basically, you need your end link, you need your bushing, you will need a blunted screwdriver. Don't want it sharp, you want to have it blunted so it doesn't damage the bushing. We want a fairly large, I prefer a dead blow type hammer. You could use another kind of hammer, but you risk damaging the end link and whatnot, but I prefer this one. We want some grease for installation of the bushing. And today I'm going to use a heat gun, but you could use boiling water to warm up the bushing. So the first step is we want to install the bushing about halfway, 1/3 to halfway onto the end link. So we're going to use the vise to do that, and we will open up the vise until they both slip down in there. We want to center the bushing and the end link on the jaws. We'll put a bit of tension on it, and what we want is we want this lip to fold down into the end link, but we want to try to get the lip to go this direction. We don't want the lip to fold over itself back this direction. We want the lip that direction. So we'll put a little bit of tension on it, and as we put tension on it, the bushing will start to squirt out one of, you can go this direction or down. Hopefully it goes up today so I can actually show you, the procedure on camera. If it's down, you can still perform the procedure, but it's not so good for showing what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and as you can see, it's starting to squirt out here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to put some pressure on this as I still tighten down on the bushing. And once I get it to a certain point, I will pop the end of the bushing in there like that. And then I'll go down here just a bit at a time, and we will work the lip of the bushing into the end link. And this can be a bit challenging. Sometimes the bushing will squirt out, and you got to start the whole process all over again. Sometimes it goes in just like you intend it to. So today seems to be going pretty good. Just get the lip in there. Oh, spoke too soon. But all is not lost. I don't necessarily have to start over because it hasn't popped out all the way. What I'll do is I'll try to get the top poked back down in there. Now, I'm going to take a little more pressure than that. Get that in there. There we go. And we got it. So now we have the end link bushing about halfway into the end link, and it's got to be, if it's not far enough out, not far enough in, too far out, it will want to slowly worm its way back out this way. So you want to make sure that it's in far enough that it doesn't walk back out. And you can see what I was talking about earlier with at least a good portion of the lip in there facing this direction. That helps keep the bushing in place. So next step is to warm up the bushing. So I'll grab my heat gun, and again, you could use boiling water, you could leave them over heat register overnight, you could, whatever works for you to warm them up. We don't want to get them so hot that they're, melted, but we also need to get them warm enough so that they're soft. So I'll just put a little bit of heat on this. Doesn't take a lot. I don't want to burn my fingers, when I go to press the assembly onto the sway bar, so you got to be a little bit careful. And that's pretty good. That's softened up pretty good. So the next step will be to put a little bit of grease inside the bushing. So we'll take some Redline CV2, and let's see if I can do this all at once. We'll put a little bit on the finger, and we'll put them in there, and you can see that the bushing has some little grooves on the inside that will hold the grease in place and prevent the bushings from squeaking, which is a common issue with cheaper bushings and bushings that aren't properly designed. I'm not going to grease it up too much. Just need a little bit in there for lube. Just pop it over the end of the Endlink. You may want a little more than I'm going to use, but I don't want to make a goopy mess just for demonstration purposes. So a little bit's good enough for now. And let's see, put that back on this. And now I need to set the Endlink aside for now, and I need to put the sway bar in the vise. So grab my soft jaws. You don't have to use soft jaws. I prefer them because they have a little V-shaped groove which helps hold the bar in the jaws, and it also protects the bar from any damage from the steel jaws of the vise. And we want to crank it down pretty tight because we're going to be wailing on this pretty good when we get to that point. So with the sway bar in place, we want to take the bushing, and we want to push the bushing maintaining the distance that you have the bushing in the Endlink. We want to push the part sticking out over the top of this bulb section of the sway bar. I'm going to use my fingers on the inside to prevent the bushing from going through the Endlink while I push it down onto the bar. And this can take some muscle. It can take a couple times. Sometimes the bushing will pop up into the Endlink and you got to pop it back out and start the whole process over again. It can take a couple tries. Once you've done it a couple of times, it becomes pretty apparent how to make it all work the first time. But if you're inexperienced with this, it can be a little challenging. So anyway, hopefully you can see this on camera, but we're going to just walk the end of the bushing over the bulb on the Endlink. Okay, so I've got that. And we'll center everything up, and I'll hold this in place. If you don't hold it in place, if you walk away from it, the whole process, the whole thing can sort of worm its way apart. Sometimes the Endlink will walk off the bushing, sometimes the bushing will walk off the sway bar, so you want to have your hammer within reach. Get my fingers out of the way here, and it'll just take a few hard hits to drive this whole assembly together. So and that is it. So again, it takes a little muscle. Takes a little coordination, but it's a procedure. The way that this all goes together, for me personally, I found that it's the smoothest, easiest, most reliable, and this can be done on the van. It's not as easy on the van because of the clearance you need for swinging the hammer, but if you can get in there to swing at the bar hard enough to be able to drive it on, this can be done with the bar on the van, although the bar is very easy to pull off. It's much easier to do in a vise. Hopefully that explains everything. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at contact@t3technique.com. Thanks.